Hey guys, I've got another idea today about ways to use up spare watercolour paintings that you don't want to sell, you don't want to make a card. What you can do is make a journal. Now I know I've come up with this idea before. In fact, I often make journals out of my watercolour paintings, but this time I thought I'd make a watercolour journal that is specifically for watercolour. So it'll be made out of my watercolour paintings and it'll be full of watercolour paper that can be used as a travel journal, perhaps. So I've got some Winsor & Newton cards that are watercolour paper, double-sided. I've got some Kmart branded watercolour paper, so super cheap. And then I've also got some beautiful watercolour paper in Saunders Waterford hot press. So it'll have and I should put in some rough. Have real examples of watercolour on different types of paper. I will also add to the backs of each of the paintings what type of watercolour paper it is. And you can paint on the back of the beautiful quality watercolour paper that the paintings are on. So I thought this one, see that one I've cut in half. I thought that would make beautiful pockets. I'm going to start with this one as the cover because it is the largest. Carefully fold it. You do the middle down and then out. And I've got a bone folder for this purpose. Gently out. It's just going to have one signature. So it will have this beautiful inside cover down here. So I'm going to fold that one next. It's not an inside cover, sorry. It's going to make an internal pocket. And fold it again. So that's going to go there, and I'm just going to clip that into position so it doesn't move around. Really love this one. So it kind of feels hard to put this one in, but I just have so many paintings that I really want to give them a second chance at life. So then it'll go like that, and then into there I'll have another pocket, so I'll fold this one, we'll go there. I've got this beautiful piece of Saunders Waterford that is, that I thought I'd put in somewhere for swatching. These ones I thought I'd put in loose. Oh, and then I've got this Kmart branded paper. Fold it down, and then this will be an internal page. It's got a little bit of the glue on the edge, so I'm just going to quickly guillotine off that edge while I'm doing this. Now I can fold, right, that one's done, and that'll go in there. I might put all of this type of paper together because I need to indicate what type of watercolour paper it is. So in the centre and then go out and then crease beautifully with the bone folder. So I'm going to put them all together. And I have this sheet printed with the type of paper that it is. So then there'll be a series of Kmart papers. Actually, this has got a bit of pastel on it, so it's just coming off a little bit. So I will give that a little waxing. I think I will wax the cover as well, and that will give it some longevity, as in, you know, if a little bit of water gets on it, it won't be ruined. Winsor & Newton sample paint samples. You open up the envelope. They're really old, so they're a bit stuck down, and I've collected so much watercolour stuff over the years. And then inside is a Winsor & Newton little dot card, so I'll be able to put them into the watercolour journals as well. So I'm going to show you my wax next. You need a rag, and you need, this is Dorland's Wax Medium. So what you can do with it is get some out. I've got a rag. It's got some wax on it, and it's quite hard, so that's how it goes eventually. It hardens. So you get it out. It's really soft. And then you put it on. I actually have no idea about how much I'm supposed to be using, so I'm just generous with it and just wipe a bit of that off and put it onto here. The incredibly brilliant thing about this wax medium is that it seals the painting and barely affects it. Oh, you can see it picking up some of that purple though. I'm going to wipe the excess onto the final painting there. A bit messy. Seal it up as soon as possible because we know it dries very slowly. Okay, I can put the cover aside to dry, put this one aside to dry, and this one aside to dry. So now I'm extra glad I didn't start gluing straight away. Okay, we're back to this bit here. This will have a pocket, and then these are going into here. And these are going to go into the pockets. I've got a few pages there. This is some of this paper, and I've got examples of positive and negative painting. So I thought that would be a great one to put in, because if this is going to go to a beginner, if the watercolour journal is going to a beginner, I thought I'd also put in some ideas about things to practice, such as positive and negative painting. But I think this will look a bit odd if they're turning the pages and they go, oh my God, that one's used. But I wanted to put them in to say, hey, do some swatching. That's exactly what I want to suggest on here. Little suggestions of things to do. Somehow I want to incorporate that, which is the example of watercolour canvas. The other thing I thought I would do is include some Saunders Waterford 190 GSM Smooth. So I've got these beautiful pages. And I think, oh, and look, this one's even got a beautiful, it's got the beautiful decal edge, and it's got the embossed name, Saunders Waterford. Gosh, it bends beautifully. I've also got a great example here of a painting with masking fluid. So I'm not going to be putting masking fluid into the the journal. But I thought it would be really cool to write masking fluid. And that's how I got the beautiful white lines. And then I'm going to sign it because it is a little original piece of art using masking fluid. When I was teaching, I used to put together these beautiful examples of things you can do when you're starting out. So wet on dry, wet on wet, different ways of doing it, glazing, lifting, and textures. So they would be things that they could use this for, and it's printed on watercolour paper. So it says it here. I've written, this is Bockingford Cold Press 190 GSM, and it's designed for the printer, which is why I was able to do all that writing on it. So that could go in there as another example of, or actually it should go in the centre, so that's good. I've also got an example of if you drag your liner brush loaded with water through colours, and I've written the colours on this side. This is a lovely example of what you can do. If I incorporate it into the book by folding it like this, they can make notes on there. Another example of something you can do when you're starting out is practice your tone of number 1, number 10, transparency. So you put pencil first. I'm wondering whether or not I'm going to need a second signature for these, or do they just go in as things to be tucked in? I've also going to include, and these are all things I had from teaching, something that's quite easy as a subject to start with, these beautiful agate slices. I'm only including things that are my photography because I'm intending to sell the book. The next thing, this is one of the things that I used to get beginners to do, make brush marks and then write down what type of brushes do what type of things, and again, lots of swatching. I think that would make sense if there's a series of pages in the middle that are ideas and something to paint, and then I have a picture of one of my red poppies. And then that could go like that, and then that would go in the center. And then I've got quite a few layers going. That's lovely. These all match up. That's going to be on the inside of the painting because my cover is drying at the moment. Put that there, and then these are the cheap papers to practice on. This is some beautiful paper to feel what that is like to paint with. Oh, what's that one? Oh, that's a good one too. I can put that in as an example of what to do. To include some beautiful watercolour paper, I've got Saunders Waterford Rough. So 2 types of Saunders Waterford. So I think I'll put in 2 of those. That'll be just beautiful. Who wouldn't love that? And then you can see the colour difference. Look at that. The cheap paper is so grey in comparison to this magnificent Saunders Waterford. And then it's got a range of textured papers in there, which in the beginning people asked me about all the time. So I love the idea of adding some samples. Or, I know, I'll put in tracing paper and then they can tear it out if they don't like it. Right. And they can pull it out and use it if they want to. Perhaps I should put it that way so that, yeah, easy to fold over. Okay, lovely. Piece of tracing paper, and then there'll be a piece of tracing paper available to them separately. That will go like that. There we go, and I'm ready to bind. Fantastic. So I can't bind it without having all the covers there. So I think I need to do a bit of gluing now. I'm going to put this around it to protect it because the beautiful paper is on the outside. Now the glue I've been using and loving is this art glitter glue. So I put an elastic around it with a rubber that I don't use anymore because I thought what a great spot so I don't lose my little pin that it comes with it. How's that? And very good. Just check it opens nicely. I'm going to use a rag to open it. I think it is just a bit too tight. It's coming off this edge here. Will it let me move it? Yeah. Cool. I want it to go to this edge. That's better. Its ability to close is the most important, but I want to keep opening it so that it will open as well. If I don't, no, I have to choose closing. That's way more important. Okay, let's clip it down because I keep moving it and I'll be slowly degrading the bond there. Do another clip, get it to bond on the bottom. A few clips, especially in the corner. That's really important over there. Here we go. Okay. The next thing to do is to stitch it up and then that will bind everything together. But I need to wait for the glue for the wax to dry because it's just, I can feel that it really needs to spend some time drying. All right, I'll be back.